It's Monday, December 8th, 2025. It's the 342nd day of the year, and the atmosphere is acting like it's trying to speedrun every kind of chaos possible over the next 24 to 48 hours. We've got a sneaky mid-Atlantic snow system to talk about, a powerhouse clipper up north, an atmospheric river out west, another Arctic blast, and a daggone geomagnetic storm. So let's get right into it. Starting off with the mid-Atlantic here, portions of West Virginia, down into Virginia and North Carolina. We've got another one of these sneaky winter setups that's really underway right now that's probably going to make your commute this evening pretty treacherous, and the farther east you go, it might even affect your morning commute tomorrow. Right now, light snow is falling across Virginia and North Carolina with 1 to 4 inches of snow possible in the Blue Ridge area, and localized spots near Richmond could also see up to 4 inches of snow, but the snow itself is not the only hazard here. Here's what that radar could look like as we go forward. By 1 or 2 p.m. today, we will be having intermittent heavy snow from maybe as far south as Greensboro, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, up there towards Virginia Beach. That's going to be where the rain-snow line sits, so I don't expect a lot of accumulation here, but just north of that between Roanoke, Lynchburg, and Richmond, it's going to be all snow, and this is where we're going to have some problems. Now, as you can see, as I pull this forward, the snow is really going to get out of here by midnight, okay? We're probably going to have some leftover snow showers, maybe hitting as far south as New Bern, North Carolina, but after midnight, 1-2 a.m., it's going to be out of our hair completely. But this is actually where things get the most dangerous, because we're going to have a flash freeze happening here. Because the reason we had this snow in the first place is because we've got a big cold front coming through. This is going to cause a mess in terms of slush, rain, and some light snow accumulation. Some of that's going to melt a little bit, and then when that cold front finally goes through, everything's going to freeze, because we're going to get down into the teens and 20s tonight, and that's going to make your commute tomorrow very, very rough. So even if you end up just seeing a dusting of snow out of this, the roads are likely going to be glazed over tomorrow morning. Bridges and overpasses along I-95 and I-64 are going to be particularly dangerous. My advice to you would be to treat any wet-looking roads tonight and tomorrow as ice-covered, and just be careful out there. It does look like there's going to be a couple places out here near Richmond that get close to 5 inches of snow. Up here in the higher elevations of West Virginia, it's possible that we get over 8 inches of snow, but the vast majority of everybody in North Carolina here is going to see likely less than 2 inches of snow. The farther south you go, we're talking about a trace, a skiff of snow at most, but it does look like the winters once again are going to be right here in the heart of Virginia near Richmond as far as that valley snow goes. So leave extra early tomorrow, drive slowly, and don't use cruise control on your way to work, and you should be good. Then our attention has to kind of slide up north here. You can see this other big band of heavy snow that's not associated with the storm down in the mid-Atlantic that's potentially going to drop up to 8 inches of snow up here in Minnesota, portions of North Dakota, northern Wisconsin, 6 to 8 inches of snow. The UP of Michigan could get in on more than 6 inches of snow over the next couple of days. This is not necessarily happening all today into tonight. This is also tomorrow into Wednesday. We're going to have a powerhouse of a clipper happening up here. Our new experimental winter storms outlook in the WeatherWise app is highlighting this area under a slight risk of winter weather. This includes Minneapolis, Fergus Falls. This includes Grand Forks, Duluth. It does include Wausau, Green Bay, all the way down towards Lansing and Muskegon in Michigan. And this is all associated with a very powerful clipper that's going to be moving in. And it's going to kind of have a 1-2 punch. I mean, today into tonight, we are going to have a pretty heavy burst of snow move through Minneapolis and most of Minnesota there. That's going to move into Wisconsin as we go into the overnight and early morning period tomorrow. That's also going to hit the UP of Michigan with its maximum intensity around 4 a.m. or so. But notice how right above my head, that's where most of the precipitation is. That's our main system. That's the clipper. That's the Alberta zinger that's going to zoom through Minnesota into Wisconsin and Michigan as we go through the day tomorrow. This is around 8 p.m. tomorrow. We are going to have heavy snow in Green Bay up there towards Houghton, Duluth, International Falls. Get ready for it. The good thing here is that it's going to be a quick hitter. It's not going to last a long time, so that's why we're not talking about measuring snow in feet, but man, it's going to drop that 5 to 8 inches of snow very, very quickly, and it's going to lead to some dangerous travel, because not only are we talking about the snow here, this is a similar situation where we're going to have a flash freeze. There is going to be some warm air that kind of comes up with this system. Some of the snow is going to melt. We're going to have some wet roads, and then after this goes by, we're going to have another one of those big Arctic plunges that we've been talking about, and this is going to bring in some of the coldest temperatures of the season so far, and we're going to have a flash freeze up here as well, and this one could be quite significant. So during the main heat of the storm here, the impacts are going to be dangerous. We're looking at near zero visibility possibility in blizzard conditions for North Dakota and western Minnesota. We're going to have winds blowing up to 60 miles per hour, especially on the backside of this thing. And then I'm also watching a very sharp cutoff here in the Twin Cities area where we're probably going to have some rain and mixed precipitation mixing in for some of this storm. That's going to cause a mess with travel, especially as we have that cold air coming in afterwards with the flash freeze. So get ready in Minneapolis. It's going to be a messy next couple of days. Now, while all this is happening, believe it or not, up here in the Pacific Northwest, we could be talking about a historic atmospheric river. This event is targeting western Washington, Oregon into the Idaho Panhandle, specifically the Clearwater River Basin, where rainfall totals could reach 4 to 8 inches. This is going to happen in waves through Thursday with no significant break to let the water drain away. So you can see here it's going to be a deluge essentially from now all the way through Thursday, especially in Washington and Idaho there, even maybe in western portions of Montana. This is going to be a high impact system. We're expecting rapid river rises, rock and mudslides in steep terrain, and urban flooding in low-lying areas. That's going to be a big deal over here in the Pacific Northwest. So if you're not prepared for this, get ready. We're also going to have some really strong winds associated with this, and it's a warmer storm, so we're not talking as much about the snow, but in the higher elevations, of course, we are going to add to that snowpack quite significantly at the very top of those mountains. But if you live near a river or a burn scar, make sure you have a bag packed. These rivers can rise faster than you expect when snowmelt is involved. Once again, this is a warmer storm, so we do expect some snowmelt on top of the historic rainfall rates, so make sure you are ready for that. And we're about to dive much deeper into that, but first let's shout out today's awesome sponsor, WeatherWise, the best radar app I've ever used. WeatherWise is a free-to-download, state-of-the-art, ad-free weather radar app on iOS, Android, and in your web browser. You get super high-res radar, lightning, alerts, and storm tracks with zero pop-up junk in your way. And lately, WeatherWise has been leveling it up in a big way. You can now watch live storm chasers right on the map, including Brandon Kopic, Jaden Pappenheim, Corey Gherkin, and much more out there in real time. They've also added full-blown weather models inside WeatherWise. We've got the HRRR, the GFS, GraphCast, NAM, you name it, it's on there. And for my Plus members, this is where it gets crazy. In Y'all mode, you can now see the weather intensity score updating live right there in your radar app. And during my live streams, you can now open the WeatherWise app and actually share your location with me so I can see where everybody's watching and which storms to focus on. Free users can ping their location, and Plus and Pro members can show up with a special icon and message so you stand out when the storms are hitting home. Plus still gives you the 3D globe, 3D radar tilt, radar smoothing, and split view so you can watch multiple maps at once. But WeatherWise Pro cranks it up even more with real-time 3D cross sections, triple and quad view, reflectivity X, max reflectivity, and fast scan. These are the kinds of tools that meteorologists and emergency managers use, and now you can have them in your pocket. The core WeatherWise experience is still free, and it will always be free. But if you want the pro level toys, that's where you upgrade to Plus and Pro inside the WeatherWise app. And if for some reason you don't have the WeatherWise app yet, scan this QR code here, or go to weatherwise.app. There's a link in the top of the description, or you can just search up WeatherWise in the iOS or Android store. It's free, it's incredibly powerful, and it's built by people who know about weather for people who actually care about the weather. Now let's get back into the forecast. Weather Prediction Center has a slight risk of excessive rainfall for day 1, day 2, and day 3, and even day 4, we still have a marginal risk over here between Seattle all the way down towards Portland. And you can see why here. Over the next 3 days, we're expecting potentially well over 4 to 6 inches of rain in a very tight, compact area here. This is going to lead to landslides, mudslides, and flooding, so just make sure you are doing everything you can to protect your life and property in a situation like this. We get systems moving through the Pacific Northwest all the time that we refer to as atmospheric rivers, but this is the real deal, and it's going to cause some problems. Now, as we warned about in the last video, we've got another big hit of cold air coming in. So this one that we're talking about right now is quite substantial, and it is obviously going to be causing some problems for millions of people east of the Rockies, and that cold air is really going to maximize tomorrow in the mid-Atlantic up into the Northeast, with temperatures potentially close to 40 degrees below average in some parts of the interior Northeast. We're going to get a little bit of a break here where some warm air is going to try to advect over the plains, and we actually might have a decently warm day here in Kansas and Iowa as we go into Wednesday, but that next big punch of polar air is loading up there. You can see it starting to show its face there on Friday, bringing some very cold temperatures down into Montana, North Dakota, and then it does kind of unleash down into Minnesota and then Wisconsin as we go into Saturday. So this is that same big cold blast that we were talking about in the last video, and it still goes quite far south, but in my opinion, it is starting to look a little bit less amped, a little bit less significant, I guess you could say, than it was the other day. That's why I said I was going to wait to see if it was still there before I start hooting and hollering about it. I think that this is still a shoe-in. I think that we're definitely going to have this big blast of cold air come down, but I think that this is mostly going to be a problem for our friends in the Great Lakes and the Northern Plains. It doesn't look like it's going to spread as far south as what we originally thought it might. If that changes, I'll be the first to let you know. But man, we're talking about, once again, 40 degrees below average temperatures up here in North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. What does that mean? We're talking about negative 30 to negative 50 degree wind chills, okay? Negative 10 to negative 20 degrees actual temperatures. This is life-threatening cold. We're talking about frostbite can set in 5 to 10 minutes at those temperatures. So this is life-threatening cold, and it will be the coldest temperatures of the season once again coming in after this. So make sure you are ready for that. This amount of cold is probably going to trigger extreme cold advisories. So make sure you prepare your homes and your pets now because this is the kind of cold that you definitely can't ignore and you've got to be prepared for. Speaking of cold, how does the pattern look over the next 6 to 10 days? So 6 days from now through 10 days from now, we are still going to be dealing with this colder than average stuff over here east of the Rockies, okay? Specifically in the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, over towards the Northeast. So that's stuff that is going to kind of compile over the next couple of days into the weekend up here in the Northern Plains. Is going to propagate down into the interior Northeast, and it's not going to be quite as cold, but it will continue to be very cold in the mid-Atlantic up through New England as we go through the next 10 days. And we're going to continue to see this big ridge build over here in the Southwest, allowing for warmer than average temperatures to build up from Los Angeles all the way up to Boise and Denver. Okay, so we do have some space weather to talk about. Looky here, another sun fart as we like to call them, has erupted from the sun, a coronal mass ejection of plasma and energy directed straight at Earth. But according to a lot of these models, notice what happens here right at the last minute, especially when it comes to plasma density. It looks like Earth is going to get missed by the strongest part of this. Most of that plasma density is going to be south of Earth, I guess you could say. And there's also not a terrible amount of solar wind associated with this. So right now we're under a G3 geomagnetic storm watch, which is likely going to hit tomorrow, December 9th. And this is a result of that coronal mass ejection that left the sun on December 6th. Okay. This is going to be an interesting one because if the models are wrong and we actually get cored by the strongest part of that plasma density here, this could end up being a G4 or something like that. And it's going to bring another potential viewing case for mid-latitude areas in the United States to see the aurora if it happens at night. But right now, I think the best case is going to be way up north. We're talking Maine, Washington with clear skies, and of course up into Canada. And we're looking at potentially minor impacts to infrastructure, some Wi-Fi issues here and there, some ham radio issues, nothing too significant right now. And that's pretty much all the weather talk I have for you today, guys. Please go download the WeatherWise app. It is awesome. You're going to love it. And it's going to become a big part of our live streams. If you want to interact with us in the live streams and stuff, it's the perfect tool to help you do that. And it's just a good radar app. It's just good. Okay. So download that. There's a link in the description. That's it. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.